come on, man, you can do it. No, I can't. You can, you have to. I can't, you can't make me. There are 8 more games to do, Steven. That is 8 hours of Leaf hockey left. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's a full work day of watching hockey. Of watching the Leafs. Let's go. It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion. That's just a nightmare. With you wherever you are. Welcome to LFR. Leafs lose! And boy did they! 5-1 to the St. Louis Blues. Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you. Saturdays are fun. You spend all day with the kids. You wrestle them. You take them out. You play hockey, you play baseball, you play some hybrid of the two because it's fun. And as it gets closer to game time, the more I think about the game ahead and the storylines and what I'm going to talk about with all of you. And people are like, it's the Leafs and the Blues. And both teams are out of it. Who cares? Well, that's not true. The Blues are not out of it at all. No. And after losing that game, despite being behind the Leafs, like significantly behind the Leafs in the standings, in terms of placement, the Blues are 4 points out of a playoff spot in the West. That's how much the West sucks this year. Sucks. But the other storyline, this is important. The Leafs win this game in regulation. At that point, the tank's off. The tank is off. You need a lot of teams to leapfrog you in the standings in order for the Leafs to have a shot at the top 5, having a pick in the top 5 of this draft. You need the Blues to be one of those teams. And if you beat them straight up, you take 2 points, they take none, it's basically over. There's not enough runway for them to realistically catch you, right? The Blues win this game in regulation. Well, all of a sudden, it's a thing. Like, just looking at the standings as they stand now while I'm shooting this video. The Nashville Predators, who are literally in a playoff spot right now, have 77 points and are 20th place. The New Jersey Devils have 76. They're not making it. The Kings are 1 point out of a playoff spot. They're 22nd in the league. The Kraken, who Bobby McMahon won't stop scoring and they won't stop losing. They have 75 points. They're 23rd. The Leafs are tied with them, 24th. The Jets are 1 point back of the Leafs with a game in hand. That's interesting. The Sharks are 2 points back of the Leafs with 2 games in hand. That's interesting. The Panthers have decided that they want Gavin McKenna to join what is already probably a Stanley Cup worthy roster. That's fun. That's great. And then there's the Blues, who are tied with them at 73 points. And the Blues are a W-A-G-O-N wagon. 7-1-2 in their last 10 games, winners of 4 straight. They might literally actually do this. And in this game, you saw the difference of a March heater, which is like a pointless winning streak by a team that's not going to make it. This is a team that definitely has a really good chance of making it and has played well enough for long enough that I believe they are genuinely, at very least, a mid-hockey team, probably a good hockey team. And on the other side, the Leafs, who have given up to the greatest degree that any team has given up in the National Hockey League, maybe save for the Canucks and Rangers and possibly Blackhawks. There's no Matthews, that kills. You traded McMahon, you traded Waugh, you traded Lawton. Tanev's out, that kills. And Bo Grew, who has been like a revelation for you, gets sent down to the Marlies because you want to keep him like AHL playoff compliant or whatever, and you don't want him to go through waivers. Like, forget selling at the deadline. Sending down Bo Grew is actually the tankiest thing that the Leafs have done during this tank. So at the beginning of this game, they line up Steven Lorentz as third line center, and like, he's neither of those things. He's not a third liner and he's not a center. What are you doing? He's a center on your fourth line in a pinch. And dude, from the moment this game began to the very end of it, the Leafs got brutalized. And can I just point out something unfair, not fun at all? last Saturday, I streamed that game. Leafs get brutalized by the Ottawa Senators. Then they win 2 straight games against Boston, who they legitimately outplayed, and the New York Rangers, who are the New York Rangers. Then they get a few days off and wait until I stream another game on Saturday before getting brutalized again by the St. Louis Blues. And oh boy, this is where Steve starts to ramp up. Over the last 2 Saturdays, which are against 2 teams who aren't currently in a playoff spot, mind you, the Leafs have been outshot 82 to 27! If you're an NHL team that's even sort of kind of respectable, there should be no 2 games over the course of an 82, soon to be 84 game season that you can smash together where you get outshot 82 to 27, bro! I'll just say it. I'll just out and say it. The game-winning goal tonight was scored by Justin Hall! That dude was signed to a 3-year contract by the Detroit Red Wings and scored 0 goals in 2 of them! One of them was because they never called him up! They never called him up and they traded him to the Blues so he could score against you! And the game winner? This game featured what I think was the most pathetic power play I've seen ever. Maybe ever. It was a 4-minute double minor miracle drawn by your rookie who you won't play in Jacob Quillen, who actually sort of played in this game. What was his time on ice? Doesn't matter. It definitely doesn't matter because you didn't get a shot on goal! By some miracle. You are down only, lol, 2-0 after 2, okay? And you score. Jake McCabe, uh-oh. And then you get a power play, uh-oh. Are the Leafs really gonna do this? No, they are not. Because you forget that one of 2 Blues exists, and there's 3 of you, and Robert Thomas sets him up, and he scores a shorthanded goal on a power play that you didn't get a shot on again. For those of you who didn't watch the game, I'm talking about different power plays. Shorty from Buse Suter, and oh my goodness, you come crashing down. Holloway gets one, Broberg gets one. Oh, just give everyone one of them. The Leafs didn't even have the decency to score a second goal just so Justin Hall wouldn't have the game winner, and they get their bottom spanked. And here's what it is. I don't expect you to win. I don't. Most people don't. The vast majority of the hockey world doesn't. But what you gotta do is play with pride. Craig Berube, who I very much would like to get fired, by the way, said that only 1 Leaf showed up tonight, and that was the goaltender. Yeah, pretty much. Now, Berube understands this team's problems, just like the last guy who got fired, and Sheldon Keefe, but it is the coach's job to make them do it. It shouldn't have to be, though. When I criticize Craig Berube and I talk about Craig Berube getting fired, a lot of people are like, dude, it's the players. It's about the coach motivating the players. The question has to come up, are these players capable of being motivated? I don't know. You have to show up to your job with a little bit of pride. None of this act your wage stuff. You're in the National Hockey League. Holy cow. Some of you are on life-changing call-ups. Some of you are in contract years. Some of you have a contract, but you're not going to be in the NHL next year if this kind of effort keeps up. And here's the thing. Forget the money. Forget the job security. Forget what the media says. Forget what the fans say. Your peers are clowning you because you're clowns. I heard a clip. It's from the Nasty Knuckles podcast. It was Chris Pronger. Chris Pronger, who's just going on a media blitz right now. I think he's angling for a job somewhere. And he talked about watching Radko Gudas knee Austin Matthews, and he was laughing maniacally because Gudas, after the hit, gets up and looks around, and he's waiting for someone to do something, and it never happens. There's no retribution. There's no anybody even dropping their gloves to stick up for Austin, and no one checks on him. That's pathetic. Brady Tkachuk goes on his podcast and he talks about, the Ottawa Senators would do something if someone went at one of our guys. Before, very aggressively not doing that, by the way. JT Miller broke Thomas Chabot for 6 to 8 weeks. What did Brady do? That's right, he fought the next game against Anders Lee. Explain that one, other than he's a dog with more bark than bite. But forget those guys. Forget those little side quests. You're going into Anaheim on Tuesday. There's 8 games left. The way you played against St. Louis, you're probably going to lose all 8 of them. Radko Gudas, who's in a walking boot, is talking about desperately wanting to play in this game and doing everything he can to play in this game, which is probably a stupid thing for him to do because he's in a walking boot, and the Ducks, forget making the playoffs, they're very likely, at least by the math, going to win their division. What is the captain of this team risking his health to play against a team as sad sack as you? Here's what I'm thinking. Gudas doesn't want it to get out of hand because he's going to be the one who takes the lumps, right? I was out there with all the pick a duck stuff and, the Leafs are going to threaten them. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to pick someone. Pizzetta fighting a team's captain, I don't think makes much sense. Maybe it's him. Dakota Joshua. You know who should want that fight is Mo. Morgan Riley. Someone's going to fight Gudas. And it's going to stink. And they're going to pat each other on the back. And then they're just going to play a mundane hockey game with very few hits or anything worthy of mention. Because you're not worthy of mention. This team is not worthy of mention. Oh, the Leafs and the pressure. And you're not even the biggest team in this city. Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball. This team has the city in a chokehold. Ernie Clement is talking about fans waiting outside of his building during playoff games and walking them to the stadium. And you think you have pressure, right? You think you have expectations. These dudes just played 2 games out of 162. And because they didn't win both of them dominantly, both of their first 2 games dominantly, like people are living and dying by every pitch. Because they want to get back to the World Series. Because that's the standard they set for themselves. What's the standard you've set for yourself? The standard you set for yourself is you show up to the rink, do nothing, stink, get your ass kicked, don't stick up for your teammates, don't stick up for your captain, don't even check on your teammates, don't even check on your captain, and then you go about your day. How many of you Leafs, if any of them, there's no shot any of them are watching, but how many of you guys, you alleged professional athletes, have already booked your flight? God, you're gross. The fans of this team care about the crest of this team more than you ever will. Ever. Ever. I can't believe the we gotta watch. Honestly, if the Leafs don't have a physical response against the Anaheim Ducks, literally just lay a bunch of clean hits, go hard on the forecheck, let them know you're there, make them pay for being in front of your net, and fight at least one person, which is the guy who took out your captain for the whole season. If the Leafs can't do that, the equipment staff should cut the blades off of all their sticks and just make them play with those for the rest of the season, because screw you too. This is just a crazy stat from Michael Amato. The Leafs have been outshot 300 to 162. 300 to 162. Nearly 2-1 over Joseph Woll's past 8 starts. 37-13, which was this game, 43-18, 44-14, 36-26, 34-27, 33-18, 40-28, 33-18. Dude, 34-27 is the closest. Questions. How about them Blue Jays? How about them? They're fun. They win. They bring joy to people's hearts. Imagine. Do they hate Berube or do they hate Berube? I think part of the reason they hate Berube is he's a hockey coach, and I'm not terribly convinced they like hockey. I was at the game, and when Hall scored, I almost cried. Other than the young core and goalies, how can I be optimistic about this team in the immediate future? Here's my honest to goodness answer. The most optimistic point of view I can give you is when the season begins anew, they'll be locked in because it's a new season. They'll be healthy, ideally, because it's a new season. And maybe that little boost to the lineup and that changed state of mind is all they need to get back into the playoff picture. Realistically, and I'm being dead serious, okay? This is no hyperbole at all. I'm being dead serious. I beg of someone in the organization to hear me when I say this. There is no reason, not one, to be optimistic about anything that the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing if they bring back this coach and this GM. People are talking about one or the other, and I think they're out of their minds. Keith Pelly, Leafs ownership, are completely out of their minds if they bring back either leader of either post. This head coach cannot come back. This GM cannot come back. I'm going to hammer this until it becomes the truth. Get a president, have that president hire their own management team, and have that management team hire their own coaching staff. You want to talk about a rebuild? You want to talk about a rebuild on the fly? You want to talk about a rebuild you can afford? It's hard to trade players, and it's hard to do this, and it's hard to do that. You can do that. There are guys available. There are guys with experience. There are brilliant minds that have less experience. You have the money to be able to pull something like that off. If you're talking about squeezing blood from a stone, if you're talking about getting vaguely back to respectability next year, you have to do all three of the things I just mentioned, or there's no point. Get a president, get a new GM, get a new head coach. If you don't do those three things, there is no reason to expect a damn thing out of the Toronto Maple Leafs anytime soon. All right. Well, the next game's at 10 o'clock at night. You going to watch it? You excited? The next two games are at 10 o'clock at night. Dude, no one's watching those. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends that there is no point in even fussing about the Leafs until they fire both their head coach and their GM. As great as they are as professionals and men, this cannot continue under any circumstances whatsoever.